Yesterday, my town had a 100-year flood. I do not know why they call it that because actually it's now flooded. This is the third flood in about 15 years. I guess time is relative, and in this case, I woke up yesterday morning early to the sounds of thunder and seeing lightning, hearing some really huge rain. It was about 5 in the morning. I thought, what a wonderful thing to wake up to the sounds of rain and a storm and to be inside and in a nice warm bed and not have to go out. And I kept listening to it and listening to it. I got up and had breakfast and looked out the window and watched what looked like really torrential rain, and I kept thinking, oh, well, isn't this amazing? Now, my city has been in drought for kind of a long time, so seeing rain of any amount at all is quite astounding. But this rain was like 2 to 4 inches an hour. It was like somebody was holding a bucket over my city and just pouring and pouring and pouring water onto us. But within my mentality, a mentality of drought, I didn't know how to take it in. In a 24-hour period, we had a foot of rain, which is, again, like somebody pouring a bucket right on top of our heads. And this city is rather hilly, and therefore it just is the runoff likes to pool in places we don't want it to, like streets, and runs into people's houses and helps them redecorate with mud when they really hadn't planned to do it. And so I just sort of gave the morning over to trying to take in what was happening, of trying to see where I had just driven days before. People were riding around in boats. And again, my question is, when we look with our eyes, how do we take in what we see? My brain just didn't have a way to take it in. I kept looking and looking, and I knew there was a flood, but I couldn't conceptualize it. I couldn't integrate it at all. So today I went to my farmer's market. I had to pick up my carrot pickles that I talked about last week. And on the way out, that's an area that really floods a lot. The little river goes through there. And I thought, well, I'll just take a look and see. I knew that it was filled with water, but a day had gone by, and I thought it would have run off. And what I saw is something I can't believe. I know I saw it, and there is that saying, seeing is believing, but in my case, seeing is not believing. And I talked to other people. We were all like, we don't understand this, because the crowd had gathered at this point. We were trying to take it in. And so I just don't know. When you see something and you know it's right in front of you, but you have no way of internalizing it, what's that about? It's like somebody had poured a big bucket of inability to think right on top of my brain, and it was seeping right on in there because I can't grasp it, I guess. We do watch on the news people having their houses blown away, or perhaps even themselves in tornadoes and whatnot, and a lot of that's been happening lately. And they're kind of stunned, and they're saying, well, we'll carry on and so forth. And I'm looking at it, and I see that's a tornado, but I think part of me says, well, that's unfortunate. I'm really glad I'm here, because I wouldn't want to go through that. And that's part of how I see tragedies or things that happen that are huge and not at all helpful to people in their normal way of life. But this time I couldn't look at that water, look at the flood, look at the street, again, where I had just driven days ago, and say, well, I'm glad that didn't happen here, because it did.